Hello and welcome to Frank Holohan Soccer Complex for round 23 of the NPL Victoria season. What promises perhaps to be game of the rounds here in the NPL Victoria as Heidelberg United travel all the way down to the southeast to take on Dandenong City here tonight. It's a cold and wet one, but hopefully the action on the field should be anything but. Heidelberg enter tonight's contest looking to stay in touch with Avondale FC atop the NPL Victoria table, while Dandenong City, at one point maybe considered dead and buried earlier in the season, are now right in the mix of things, looking to make a late push for the finals, currently 11th position on the NPL Victoria table. My name is Joseph Lynch. And I'm joined here tonight by Josh Parrish on the call. Josh, thanks for joining me tonight. Looking forward to what should be an excellent game.
Absolutely, Joey. Really excited to be here. This, for me, personally, is the pick of the contest for this weekend because they've both got so much to play for. Dandy City with that second half of the season push. They've pretty much out of the relegation woods now, but looking ahead to try and hang on to those slim finals hopes, and then Heidelberg trying to chase the league leaders, Avondale. Couldn't be more to play for in the last 5 rounds of NPL Victoria. So, I can't wait to see what happens. And, what better place to be than the Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, where we've already sampled some of the culinary delights.
It should be an absolute top game. And I do remember from conversations with Heidelberg head coach George Katsakis in previous years, especially last year when they did cinch the Premier's plate with 2 weeks to go, that George Katsakis is definitely one that prefers to be atop the season, top the table at the end of the season rather than winning the grand final. So a football traditionalist is George Katsakis and his Heidelberg Chargers. We'll take you through the starting lineups for both sides as we get set for kickoff. There's been a late change to the Dandenong City lineups. Initially slated to start in goal was Salchin, but instead it will be Stefan King starting in goal for Dandenong City. So a very late change in that one. In front of him will be number 6, Carl Valeri, number 7, Shayan Alinejad, number 8, Zach Thompson, number 10, Samuel Sibatuara, number 11, Brendan Shantalab, number 13, Greg Lombardo, number 19, James Kelly, number 24, Luke Pilkington, number 25, Adrian Leia, and number 36, Stephen Topalovic. As we get set off here, as the Burgers will just go straight onto the left flank. Starting for the Burgers, in goal, Brendan White. Didn't have a number on the team sheet, but it's Brendan White. Pretty easy to identify him. He's the one in the goalkeeping jersey, wearing the gloves. In front of him, number 2, Josh Wilkins. Number 3, Les Dumbalis. Number 7, Ruben Way. Number 9, Adrian Zara. Number 11, Lucas Derrick. Number 13, Luke Biles. Number 14, Harry Noon. Number 15, Paul O'Brien. 17, Stephen Pace. Number 19, Sean Ellis. And I guess looking at those two sides, Josh, just they've got, as looks like maybe a flat ball or something. Yeah, flat ball. As it's a bit of a false start to the game. But looking at those two sides, Josh, it really is a bit of a contrast. Heidelberg, a starting 11 made up of players that have been there for years and years and years, a sense of continuity. Dandy City, quite a lot of changes even from round 1 of this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Heidelberg just have that formula down pat, don't they? And we saw the best of Heidelberg last week when they demolished the Bentley Greens 3-0. They know how to play this system inside out. They know each other inside and out. Dandy City, on the other hand, much more unpredictable mix of players.
As Biles gets a ball in there to Noon, but Dandenong City are able to clear, and now the long ball is played over the top to Shantalab. However, Stephen Pace is right across to clear the ball back to White, who just puts a long ball up over the top into the wind and the rain here. That ball looked to have came off Kelly, however, Zara keeps it in. Played straight back by Leia. However, Shantalab unable to chase down that one, probably in the wrong position to chase down that one, and it will fall to Brendan White.
Yeah, I think we saw an early preview of what to expect in this context, Joey, when that tackle flew in from James Kelly on Les Dumbalis and actually popped the first match ball we started with. That's the intensity that you expect both these teams to play with for 90 minutes here.
Yeah, it was Ruben Way attempting to flick the ball on there, unable to do so. Instead, it'll be a throw-in with the ball in the hands of Shayan Alinejad. And perhaps a few problems with another match ball. So that looks like we will continue with that one. As Alinejad goes long down that flank. That should be a handball off of Kelly, and it is so. Kelly, one of the players that did, I believe, start the season with Dandenong City, came over from Bentley, in the off-season. A Bentley side that went down 3-0 to this Heidelberg side last week, and perhaps a bit of a boil over down there at Kingston Heath.
Expected a much closer contest there. It was a shock to everyone in NPL Victoria circles to see Heidelberg absolutely run away with it in that fashion. But I think in response to that, perhaps, Dandy City Heidelberg have gone with maybe a more conservative lineup in this game. They've pushed Stephen Topalovic into that holding midfield role. We know he can slot into centre-back quite easily, and brought in Greg Lombardo alongside Adrian Leyer. So it's a real solid central defensive trio, if you like. No, not a traditional back three, but with a real anchor man in front of that back four.
As we just did here, Dandenong City head coach Ante Moric on the sidelines. Moric coming in mid-season, just telling the fourth official to watch out for elbows from Ruben Way. So Moric has been studying his film and has perhaps maybe identified something he wants an eye kept on as that one is uncontested for Way to attempt a head on, but Kelly comes in to force it straight back. That ball over the top of Derek. Kelly, just a bit of pinball, no side able to properly retain possession as just Leyer puts his boot through that one. However, Heidelberg have a chance to reload and come again. Ball is played over the top for Ellis to chase down. Ellis will keep it in, the Scotsman. Back to Way. Ball comes into the penalty area, but nobody there waiting, and Sibatuara will just knock it forward for Chantalab, who goes down under a challenge from behind and wins his side an early free kick, much to the disgust of George Katsakis. Never shy with his opinion on the sideline is George Katsakis.
I doubt we're going to hear many of the coaches on the sidelines here hold back from spraying at the referee, the fourth official. They're all very passionate personalities, shall we say. And you can probably hear on the mics how enthusiastic their contributions have been, even just a few minutes into the contest, Joey.
Yes, well, maybe I'll send out a preemptive apology to kids in cars for any language that comes over the microphones as that ball is played forward to Kelly, who heads it straight back into the middle of the field. And again, it is a free kick won by Dandenong City, won by Zach Thompson in what is a dangerous area here in the middle of the park for Heidelberg to defend, Josh.
Absolutely. They do not have their set-piece specialist on the field. I would say that Liam McCormick is probably the preferred set-piece taker when he is selected. But instead it will be Brendan Santalab who lines this one up.
Yeah, Chantalab, you would think, would only have eyes for goal in this position. A three-man wall for the Burgers. Alinejad makes a run onto the right flank. But it's Chantalab. Well held there by Brendan White. Former Brisbane youth player is Brendan White. Began his career with Port Melbourne before making the move north to Queensland, but now back here with the Burgers.
And did make a few A-League appearances last season towards the back end.
Derek unable to get under that one. Leyer not able to get a touch on it either. Alinejad gets a touch. However, now neither side able to get a clear possession, but eventually Shayan Alinejad, one of the few players for Dandy City who is in this starting 11, who did play in their promotion winning side last year, clears the ball out.
Very versatile and capable player, Alinejad. He's a futsal-roo. He represents Australia internationally in futsal, and you can see by his build and also his technical ability that that's the form of the game where he excels. But in NPL level, he's also a very handy fullback or midfield option and can offer both defensively and going forward.
Dumbalis throws the ball in long, nodded onwards, but that's just going to continue carrying all the way out for a goal kick. Came off the head of Noon. Mentioning Alinejad, a futsal-roo representing Australia in futsal. Potentially, according to some, including me, maybe that should make him an Olympian. Perhaps we should be playing futsal at the Olympics instead of under 23 on this big green thing football. But that's a discussion for another day.
Wholeheartedly agree with that one.
As the ball is booted forward, Kelly trying to get underneath it, but it will just go long and be booted clear by the Burgers. Lucas Derrick can't control it.
You could probably argue that Heidelberg have gone for something of a conservative lineup to start with anyway, with Tom Cahill on the bench, Ruben Way on the left flank. He also can play left back, of course. They've brought in Les Dumbalis. and maybe that's to track the attacking runs of Alinejad from right back.
This will be a two-man strike force for the Burgers. Noon and Derek up front. Derek has in the past been more frequently used as a wide man at the sides that he's been at. Went to an under-17 World Cup as a member of Melbourne Victory's academy setup and made the move across to Melbourne City. Began last season with Northcote City and really set the league on fire until he went down with an ACL injury, but now made the move over to Olympic Village, making his 13th appearance this season. Has already found the back of the net twice.
They're not really playing with a traditional front man tonight, Heidelberg. Both players very capable of scoring goals, but neither of them are really a traditional out-and-out number 9. They're both going to roam all over the field, and I think you'll see quite a fair bit of movement and switching of positions in the Heidelberg midfield and forward line, which is part of the reason they are so dangerous.
Yes, on the bench for Heidelberg United is Tom Cahill, perhaps more resembling a number 9. As this ball comes in, flicked onwards, just tipped wide.
Sean Ellis it was.
Sean Ellis just managed to get tipped wide by Stefan King, pressed into duty here with the late change, but he makes a fine save to deny Heidelberg's Scottish import.
You got to credit Stefan King there. It was struck about as sweetly as it was ever going to be off that magic left foot of Sean Ellis. And the goalkeeper who really came into the side very, very late.
Subsequent corner from Derek. Comes out to the back post, but it is blocked down. Noon with a shot at the back post.
It must be difficult as a goalkeeper coming into the lineup at such short notice. I'm not sure when he knew. We certainly only found out just as the teams were lining up in the tunnel ready to walk out. So I'm not sure quite how late in the piece Salchin maybe picked up a knock in the warm-up. To get your head in the game that quickly is real credit to him.
Over the top. Sorry to cut you off there, Josh. But he's headed clear by the City defence. Comes into Lombardo and he takes no chances, just booting this ball out for another throw-in as the rain continues to fall. A couple of brave souls out there on the Dandenong City Hill with their umbrellas. For the most part, most of the crowd here in the stand behind the goals there as Heidelberg will throw another ball into the area. And again, the Burgers seize upon it and prevent the proper clearance. Way, twisting and turning, clashes with Alinejad, but he gets the ball onwards to Zara. Zara now will be forced to just go back to Dumbalis. And they'll go all the way back to White. The Burgers trying to reset and stretch out this Dandenong City defence. Long ball over the top, perhaps for Derek. Leia heads it away. Ellis gets in to cut it out. Ellis continue to run on that left flank. But a strong challenge from Topalovic. Puts it out for a throw-in. And you can just see on that one, Josh, just despite the fact that Heidelberg went back to their goalkeeper as this is thrown in and Ellis gets a ball into the middle, but it's headed clear. Despite the fact that Heidelberg went all the way back to White, Dandenong City had about 6 men in a line there on their defence.
I'm sure Ante Moric and Sasha Ognanovsky will be really pleading with that defence to get out a little bit quicker. They just didn't react to the situation and left themselves hemmed in.
There's another chance now for Lucas Derrick to
that is
swing a
way
ball
off the actual corner spot, by the way.
Comes in, nobody able to get a clean touch, and that one is headed out, and Sibatuara knocks it onwards, but however, no doing. Sent straight back in. Now Zara has a bit of space, gets it to Derek on the left flank, and Derek cut it back. Derek unable to chase it down. And Dandenong City fans, breathe. It's a goal kick.
I think Zara is regretting that decision. He did have time and space. He could easily have taken a touch out of his feet and tried to curl one for that top
has
right
the left
corner.
peg to put it in if he wants.
It's pretty good on both feet, Adrian Zara. Not as nimble as he used to be, of course.
Ball is booted clear in the direction of Kelly, who flicks it onwards, looking for Chantalab, but it's sent straight back in by the Burgers defence. And now Chantalab will get another chance. But just, again, he's closed down immediately by Biles. Biles, a former defender in the Southampton youth setup. This ball is played in by Kelly, just goes over the top, and it will be a goal kick to the Burgers.
First real attack aside from that set piece from Dandy City. They've been largely hemmed into their own half, and I think they will primarily try and operate on the counter-attack.
We were talking about Adrian Zara before. Dandenong City out here in the southeast are a Croatian side, and Zara, no stranger to Croatian sides, was actually a youth at Melbourne Knights under Billy Wojtek.
And you could argue the early Melbourne Heart days were pretty Croatian flavoured as well, Joey.
Yes, absolutely. Zara's, of course, spending time in the A-League with both Melbourne Heart and Perth Glory.
Just an update from around the grounds, Joey. Bentley Greens have taken an early 2-0 lead at Lowly Kingston, which is a real nail in the coffin for maybe their survival hopes.
Bentley coming into the game, having lost 3-0, perhaps taking it out on Paul Kingston. Battle of two southeastern sides as Alenijad just sprays a ball long looking for Sibatuara. But Sibatuara will be unable to chase it down.
Matt Thurtell with an early penalty. We'll get confirmation of the second goal scorer shortly, I'm sure. But Pascoe Vale and Hume City currently 0-0 in the 30th minute.
Pascoe Vale occupying the other automatic relegation slot in NPL Victoria. Will need all the points they can to overhaul the Dandenong Thunder and at least guarantee them a playoff spot as that ball is floated in, but unable to curl back far enough to present a chance for the on-rushing Dandenong City attack, and it will be a goal kick.
Tell you what, the first thing you notice about Brendan White is that lanky frame, and I don't think he's going to be caught out by any wayward miss-hit crosses. Yeah. Wouldn't imagine. He's got quite the reach on him.
Arms down to his ankles.
Completely different keeper in terms of his body shape and his style to Chris Theodoridis.
I wonder if he takes penalties.
I doubt it.
Another ball comes straight out. Noon underneath it, as well as Nambalis. Kelly was there for Dandenong City, and it's gone out for a throw-in for the hosts. Alenijad to take. Ignores the run of Shandalab.
I think you saw Topalovic there will be primarily used to neutralise Harry Noon, if at all possible. Johnny Barrera intervening there. I think perhaps overruling the assistant referee.
Now Les Dumbalis with the ball in his hands will try to get something going. Looks like he'll have to go long. And he does so. Several players getting underneath it. Comes out to Ellis in the middle of the park. Just turns magnificently and eventually gets the ball to Noon. Bit of a hospital pass back from Topalovic, and Leia is just forced to put it out. And now the Burgers come again. Ellis. Oh, Ellis so clean. Derek can't make proper contact with the volley, however. Zara now will just collect and get things set up once again. Stephen Pace now on the ball. Back out to Zara.
And every time Sean Ellis gets the ball, he just injects something a little bit different, a little bit more composed and creative, bringing down these loose balls and 50-50 challenges into an uncontested possession. He's quite a classy player.
As we saw there, Valeri going down under the challenge. Paul O'Brien wins his side a free kick. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think, well, judging from his Twitter feed, Sean Ellis probably Brenton Speed's favourite player in the NPL. Now in this case, King will just put the free kick long. Kelly trying to get underneath it, but he's just marshalled away from the ball's flight path, and it will be a goal kick for Brendan White. And now we can confirm he's wearing 35. Wasn't on the team sheet. So I imagine that means Chris Theodoridis on the bench will be wearing number 1. Just look at this, Josh. Pretty much all 20 players on the park in one tiny area in the middle of the field.
Playing the percentages.
Yeah. Cold and wet and rainy NPL football and everybody getting around it. Ruben Way loses the ball under the challenge from Valeri. Comes out to Topalovic. Back to Valeri. Valeri once again, he tries to switch the play, but he's mishit his pass, and it's cut out by Way. And then Way will put a ball over the top, looking for Ellis. But Ellis, oh, he will keep it in. Well done by the Scotsman. Twisting and turning Ellis. Eventually pulls the trigger looking for Derek, but Derek is marshalled away by Adrian Leyer, and it will be a goal kick. The veteran defender winning out against the young and exciting attacker there, Josh.
Adrian Leyer, so much experience. Thought he was done in the game. Really announced his retirement, but Dandy City, in their desperation to avoid relegation, have tempted him back, and he's put his body on the line, the veteran defender. Left here with, I don't know how many stitches in his head, one of the first outings. He's back playing, and it's great to see him back on the park. 2 ex-Melbourne Victory captains in the lineup for Dandy City today.
Experience that, especially in a battle to avoid relegation, you can't really buy. Well, Dandy City actually did buy it. What am I saying? Because Adrian Leyer works for Adidas as well, doesn't he? So no doubt he's got the freshest kicks out of any player on the field. Wonder if he gets a new pair for every game. Actually, that would hurt terribly, wouldn't it? Got to break them in. As the Burgers get the ball on the right flank, another chance for them to get some numbers forward.
It's looking increasingly like a very narrow 4-4-2 for the Burgers.
Comes out to Derek. Well, he's just played about, no room to manoeuvre. O'Brien will whip a ball in, looking for Noon. Noon will flick it on, but it's going to travel high and wide and be another goal kick for Dandenong City.
Those are the kind of deliveries that Heidelberg really thrive on. It's almost through sheer volume that they can just create so many chances in the box. The delivery from wide areas is usually so pinpoint, and just Paul O'Brien, the holding midfielder, drifting out to the flank there, got free.
As we hear George Katsakis there encouraging Ruben Way to let the players know to chip the ball. So it looks as though with a narrow 4-4-2, lots of chips into the area. Look, pretty much just a battering ram approach, trying to beat down the Dandenong City defences.
I mean, call it rudimentary, but Heidelberg have the players to do it, and they have a proven track record of success.
I mean, if it works.
That very formula at this level.
Yeah. And Zara on the ball, plays it back to Ruben Way.
It's almost money ball. How many times can you get in the penalty area?
Katsakis ball. Now Dandenong City have a chance to come forward. Valeri looks to chip a ball over the top. Supatuara gives chase. Wilkins is with him. Poor touch there from Pilkington, unable to keep it. And the Burgers will put it out for a throw-in. Pilkington with a ball in his hands. Comes into Supatuara. Wilkins riding his back. And the Burgers will block the cross, and then a chance for them to come out, although Pace was a little tardy with his clearance, and Dandenong City will come again. Pace with another chance now to make amends. Always playing with his shirt tucked in is Stephen Pace. Zara eventually gets it down there to Ellis on the right flank, but the ball is stolen away from him by Lombardo. But Ellis! Ellis! Good God! Ellis with an absolute thunderbolt to give the Burgers the lead, Josh.
Out of nothing too. He almost stumbled. He almost lost it, Sean Ellis. But if he gets any space at all on that magnificent left peg of his, he's going to test the keeper out. And I don't think Stefan King even knew what was whizzing past him. The velocity of that ball into the near top corner, unbelievable.
Well, we saw Stefan King was already denied Ellis amazingly once tonight, but could do absolutely nothing about that one. And now approaching the half an hour mark of this contest here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. The score is the hosts, Dandenong City 0, Heidelberg United 1.
I think the rain is just about extinguishing the burn marks off the back of the net, Joey.
Yeah, it was absolute thunderbolt of a shot. I must admit, Josh, I did almost swear. I had to stop myself for a second.
Nearly had to apologise to the kids in cars again.
Yes. As now the Burgers will come again. Ruben Way unable to keep it going, and just Dandy City will boot the ball forward. Biles puts it out.
Being helpfully informed that James Exidias has scored that second goal for Bentley over at Kingston City. Or against Kingston City, I should say.
Yeah,
At home at Kingston Heath. Confusingly enough.
Now that Dandy City will get the ball out to Valeri, but he'll come under immediate pressure from Zara. And then Noon pounces. Noon plays it forward looking for Derek. Derek is just marshalled out. There will now be a throw into Dandy City. Of course, take that opportunity just to remind everybody that we are live on the NPL Victoria YouTube and Facebook pages. If you are watching along on the Facebook page, be sure to leave us a comment, observations, thoughts,
Abuse,
updates from around the grounds. Maybe not abuse, but, well, maybe for Josh, maybe, but yeah. I am a sensitive boy. As the Dandy City will come again, gets it out to Alinejad on the right flank. Excellent touch to cut back inside. He's just forced to turn over for a lack of options. And then Ruben Way just slides in to take out Thompson. But Thompson gets another opportunity in a bit of space, but across quickly, Heidelberg is now Alinejad. Twisting and turning. And he can't keep it in, but he will have a throw in.
I involuntarily winced as that 2-footer went in from Ruben Way. I guess no harm, no foul, but being the current recipient of a torn ACL, it does make you shudder a little.
Yes. Especially on nights like this where it's a bit difficult to arrest that momentum as you do slide along the turf. Now Thompson standing over the ball will look to deliver this one to a waiting Dandenong City head. Comes in the middle of the area, spills out to the back post. Ellis gets in there in front of Topalovic and wins the free kick.
Stephen Topalovic, the captain's armband. He's actually a Dandy City junior, but that was before the merger with Chelsea Hajduk, so it was a much different club back then.
Yeah.
He's only coincidentally Croatian.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of spells there, bounced around a bit, but came back last season to help with that promotion push.
I remember when I was out here calling the Dandenong City game against Hume, almost scored an absolute thunderbolt, picking up the ball from the back line, running up the field and then letting loose. I'm sure down 1-0, Dandenong City fans would not object if he was to do something similar, except this time find the back of the net. As the Burgers now will reset and look to come forward. It's played long for Derek. Derek brings the ball down, but then Layer again getting across.
Fun fact about Stephen Topalovic, he's actually a part-time male model away from football.
That gives me so many Zoolander jokes to make. Thank you, Josh. As the ball comes back out onto the left flank now, Zara under pressure from Valeri. Former Victory captain marking the former Melbourne Heartman.
Provides some real blue steel at the back.
Very good, Josh.
I'll leave the rest to you. Look how deep this Dandy City block is. Really,
despite the fact that they have
up.
fallen down 1-0, still recalcitrant to press forward and make the Heidelberg defence work.
I'm not sure Brendan Santalab is altogether pleased with the no pressing strategy.
Well, Shantalab will make the effort, but of course, not the youngest character in the world is Brendan Shantalab.
I just think, I mean, he was trying to press the back line, but didn't have any teammates in support and gave a rather dismissive wave to his midfield afterwards.
Brendan Shantalab has scored 6 goals in his 9 appearances so far at an NPL Victoria level.
Not a bad way to announce yourself at a new club.
Once again, Heidelberg comes sliding in. That time it was Noon, but the ball came back out all the way to Shantalab. But Shantalab has given away a free kick. Of course, Shantalab well known for his exploits overseas and in the A-League, but he did start his career with the Parramatta Power in Sydney United back in the old NSL days.
Too few ex-NSL players in the A-League anymore. They're gradually, well, actually quite rapidly ticking away. We had so many retirements last season. or at least steps back to semi-professional level.
Maybe James Kelly there, perhaps getting confused and thinking he was at the Richmond game at the MCG, just rising high there and giving away a free kick.
He's a very athletic player, James Kelly. I'm sure he could take a specky if he was allowed.
There's now Zara standing over it. Well, no, Zara will leave it. And we'll take Alinejad with him as Dumbalis gets across and send a left-footed effort into the area, but it's poor and immediately cleared. Biles will deliver it straight back in, chested down by Derek. Ruben Way goes down, but Derek picks up the ball back up. And he's gone down inside the area, and he's won a penalty for his side. Lucas Derrick did not give up on the play. Got across, and he's just so quick, is Lucas Derrick. Dandenong City unable to keep containment on him, and they've, in their efforts to win the ball, have given away a penalty. So disastrously for Dandy City, they could now find themselves down 2-0 just before the half an hour mark, and it will be Zara to take it.
Yeah, Lucas Derrick just too quick for his opponent there. Simply just got the drop on him, gave him a bit of a shimmy. Adrian Layer, I think, was the man to give it away, and he's still arguing with the assistant referee on the far side. Valeri
over there as well, but it will be Zara to take it. Adrian Zara looking for his third goal of the NPL Victoria season.
I think Layer with a bit of a veteran move here, trying to ice the kick taker.
You know, it will be Zara versus King. King versus Zara. And Zara wins the battle. Easy as you like. The little, oh, look at that. Very fancy there from Adrian Zara. Don't hurt yourself, mate. It's very wet. Zara with a little stutter step there, maybe to take advantage of a cold Stephen King. Wasn't expected to start. Perfect penalty, really. Put it in the bottom corner of the goals. And Josh, it's now Heidelberg 2, Dandenong City 0.
Well, that is a hammer blow for Dandy City's finals hopes. I mean, Heidelberg don't usually give away these kinds of leads. And Adrian Zara, I think he knows this could be their avenue back into that title race.
As we mentioned, Heidelberg United second on the table coming into this one, but with a game in hand on Avondale after a previous fixture against Oakley was washed out. But now I guess the question is, Josh, will Dandenong City come out of their shell and chase this game? So Alinejad puts a ball in. Shot came in from Thompson, was blocked. Another effort comes in this time from Pilkington, but getting down well to save is White.
I think there'll be a natural reaction, but I do think there needs to be a tactical change for Dandy City here. They're just sitting too deep. I think they need to rethink the game plan, which was probably designed for them not to concede before half-time, let alone twice.
Well, Dandenong City do have on the bench Filipovic, McCormick, Polyak, and Mate Duganzic. So some avenues there. Of course, the name that does jump out perhaps is Mate Duganzic.
Absolutely. It's just so great to see him back playing any football. He thought it was all over just a couple of months ago when I spoke to him on the night train, the Melbourne Knights club show.
Of course, Duganjic debuting with the Knights as a 16-year-old, didn't he?
He's had a troublesome ankle problem his entire career, ever since he actually left the Knights and went for trials in Croatia with, I believe it was Dinamo Zagreb.
Ended up with the Lokomotiva, didn't he?
Yes, he did eventually with the sort of farm side of Dinamo. And he picked up an ankle injury which has plagued him for the rest of his career, just during that trial period when he was still a teenager. So even when he was making that breakthrough at Melbourne Victory, his career had already been hampered.
Ellis plays in a ball, looking for Ruben Way, gives chase, maybe tries to slide across.
Having said that, though, when he steps onto an NPL pitch, as Ruben Way is getting stuck into it with Adrian Layer, Mate Duganzic still a very impressive player and can turn a game, especially as an impact substitute.
Chested down by Chantalab and then played across to Valeri. Was looking for the run of Kelly, but maybe a bit of miscommunication between the two. And White comes out to collect as George Katsakis on the sidelines just tells his side to just settle down, don't get caught out. Of course, you were saying, Josh, but that Heidelberg don't normally give up 2-goal leads, but there is that saying, of course, 2-0, the most dangerous scoreline in football. Just Noon gets a chance to play it in behind the defence for Derek to run onto. Alinejad's brought him down.
Oh, he got the ball there, Joey.
Oh,
He got the ball there, Joey. I don't think that should have been a penalty.
It is a contentious one. The speed of Lucas Derrick forced Cheyenne Alinejad to commit to the sliding challenge. Always a risk. And the referee has awarded Lucas Derrick and Heidelberg a second penalty and a chance to go up 3-0.
I'm absolutely certain Alinejad got a touch on the ball there, a very healthy touch with his toe.
Yes.
But I think Jonathan Barrero is just unfortunately on the wrong angle for that, and this really shouldn't be a penalty for me.
Well, under controversial circumstances, Zara has a chance to make it 3-0. And he does so. He pretty much goes to the exact same space that he did the first time, maybe a little higher. But now, Zara with 2 goals from the penalty spot. Ellis with his thunderbolt, but 2 big assists there for Lucas Derrick, winning 2 penalties, has put Dandenong City 0, Heidelberg United 3 here. You know, I think looking at the screen, the 34th minute of play. But Lucas Derrick, Josh, I mean, probably shouldn't have been a penalty, but the fact that he was able to get there, speed kills, and the speed of Lucas Derrick has won his side 2 penalties here.
Absolutely. I mean, you can talk about the decision all you like. I think it was incorrect. I mean, it's just all about the angle you're on as
Be sure
a
to
referee.
leave us a comment on the Facebook Victoria, NPL Victoria Facebook page with your thoughts.
I mean, the fact is that Alinejad shouldn't have given the ball away in that situation, and Lucas Derrick really made him pay for that with just great anticipation. Look at him again.
There he goes again. Adrian Leah loses the ball. Derrick coming in, and that's going to be a yellow card for Adrian Leah. You could see he just, well, it's not. Oh, no, there we go. The yellow card is now produced. And just as we're talking about it then, Adrian Leah probably at the heart of this Dandenong City defence, more so for his veteran instincts than his speed, just loses the foot race with the lightning-quick Derrick, and he's just forced to bring him down and give away a free kick rather than a penalty at least, but he's shown the laundry from the referee's pocket, Josh.
Yes, I think he had really no choice in that situation. Lucas Derrick was almost in again, and he's just tormented the Dandy City defence. Every loose ball that is almost 90-10 in favour of the defender, he's managed to get toes in left, right and centre, just nicking the ball off their feet, racing away. He's just an absolute pest, and he's really a key reason why Heidelberg are in the lead here.
And now Adrian Zara standing over the ball. Burgess getting men forward. Zara with the delivery towards the back post, punched clear. Eventually Valeri with a clearing header forward. Zach Thompson trying to win the ball. And still coming forward, gets it forward to Valeri. Valeri working against Zara, shrugs him off strongly. And eventually Noon gets across the block, his cross in. There's Katsakis there applauding the efforts of Lucas Derrick. Lucas Derrick, as we mentioned, he's coming back from a torn ACL. He was with Northcote last year after leaving the Melbourne City youth system, and probably more so a victim of just unfortunate circumstances where at Melbourne City, both he and now South Melbourne, as we'll briefly pause as the corner is delivered in, but it's a strong collection from Brendan White. Lucas Derrick and now South Melbourne's Jerry Salados, they were both in the very unfortunate situation where they were sharing a position in the Melbourne City Academy with a certain Daniel Arzani and now a Rami Najareen as well, and going forward in attack, Moody Najar as well, to say nothing of the fact that Warren Joyce was the head coach at the time. So just really faced a brick wall to play A-League football, did they? As there's a significant disagreements between Ante Moric and the officials and Adrian Zara here. Eventually, because yes, as I was saying, Lucas Derrick faced a brick wall to play A-League football, was lighting the NPL up with Northcote last year. He's really one that potentially should be playing in a second division or maybe even A-League, isn't he, Josh?
Forgive me for being slightly distracted during that tale, Joey. There was a significant disagreement on the sideline. It seemed as if Ante Morich thought if Alinejad just took the throw in for Dandy City as quickly as possible, it would just be awarded their way. I'm not sure that's how it works, Ante. Yeah, Lucas Derrick, certainly it's difficult to shine when you've got a generational talent like Arzani in your midst.
That's a fine ball from Ellis, and Subatuaras just pushed Josh Wilkins over. I mean, there's a bit of booze raining out from the grandstand, but I'm not sure there can be many objections to that free kick. Maybe we should go back to the penalty decision perhaps, but maybe not that free kick.
No, it seemed pretty self-evident. Push in the back there.
As now, I believe you've got a bit of a history of calling Sean Ellis at free kicks, Josh. What do you think we'll see here?
Left foot, top right corner. Sean Ellis, this is his trademark range. This is his territory where he lives and breathes. Just a little dink. He doesn't put much on them, but if you place them as well as he does, you don't need to.
Well, it's Ellis and Noon standing over the ball. Will be Ellis. Straight into the wall. Commentator's curse from Josh Parrish. But Noon now on the ball. But neither of them can connect properly between Ellis and Noon. And now Dandy City can come away through Topalovic. Topalovic just shrugging off challenges strongly. And he'll play the ball forward for Sipatuara. He's onside. Just turns back to face goal. Gets a strong ball into the middle. He was looking for the head of Chantalab, but Brendan White comes across strongly to collect. And he'll get it out quickly to Ellis.
Look at Ellis go.
Wins a
Turn
free kick.
Pilkington inside and out. He's been absolutely electric this evening so far, Sean Ellis, from that obvious opening goal. But just every time he gets the ball, it's bamboozling these Dandenong City defenders. They don't know what to do with him. I think the only way to really defend him at the moment is to try and prevent him from getting the ball in the first place, because once he's got it at his feet, you're not stopping him.
Now it is Wilkins standing over this ball for the Burgers. Big right booted effort into the top of the area, but there's nobody there, and Leia will head the ball clear to Chantalab. Chantalab has time to turn and was looking for Kelly, but it's blocked by Ruben Way. Cries for a handball, ignored by the referee. And that ball forward looking for O'Brien is cut out. However, it will be a Burger throw-in now on this right flank. Forward to Noon, working against Topalovic. Two strong men there working on the right flank, and eventually Noon does enough to win a corner for his side.
Half-time around the grounds, Bentley Green still with that 2-0 lead over Kingston City. Pascoe Vale half-time against Hume, 0-0, and if Pascoe Vale can get anything out of that game, that would be a big result for them, considering how terrific Hume City have been this season. Perhaps a surprise package of the division.
Is that ball delivered in by Ellis? Way was rising to meet it. Zara will have a chance from outside the area, but his effort starts to rise, continues to rise, and ends up rising all the way into the roof of the grandstand here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex.
Zara on a hat-trick now. 2 penalties, but they all count.
Dumbalis heads it back. Topalovic working with the ball, and he'll just play it back to Lombardo, who plays it forward. And now Kelly can break through in behind the defence. Plays it across the face of goal, does James Kelly. Perhaps Dandenong City's best chance of the game so far, Josh, but just couldn't sneak it inside that far post.
Well, it's a half chance at best for James Kelly, but he's a dangerous player. He's got a rocket of a right foot, and that was not too far away from that left-hand bottom corner. It certainly had Brendan White sprawling across his goal. They just need something to break their way.
Once again, just pretty much every outfield player assembled in a small area for the goal kick. Chantalab eventually gets the ball out. He was looking for Valeri. Valeri keeps running and has the ball out there on the right flank. Valeri delivers it back into the area. Thompson just puts the ball wide of the goals. Does Zach Thompson.
And meanwhile, Stephen Pace has gone down with an injury here.
Is he holding his wrist, Josh?
I think it's a shoulder injury here. I think it might have popped out his left shoulder. He instantly was affected by it, and Stephen Pace, you know, not the kind of guy to exaggerate a knock. He's usually one to soldier through it, so I think he will have to come off here.
Heidelberg does have Chris Dibb on the bench. Defender, came across in 2019 after stints with George Cross and the Whittlesea Rangers. Looking to make his 6th appearance on the season.
Certainly would be an unwelcome reshuffle for Heidelberg, but what a chance in the meantime for Zach Thompson, who
he should have put the ball on
really
target, shouldn't he,
surely
Josh?
should be burying it from there.
Just opened up in front of him. The Red Sea parted in front of him, but unfortunately just put it wide.
And with a very significant presence missing from the play in the centre of the defence, I'm not sure they're going to get a clearer opening than that.
As we see that the Burgers will make a substitution, and it will be Chris Dibb entering the fray. So things had been going all their way in this game, hadn't they, Josh? But now a bit of adversity for the Burgers as Pace is forced to depart for Chris Dibb with what we hope isn't a serious shoulder injury.
I'm sure if you say former Melbourne Victory players, you think on this field today, you think of Leia and Valeri, but Stephen Pace is a former A-Leaguer. He's been playing at Heidelberg for a long time now. Very, very experienced defender.
Approaching 200 games for the club, I believe. He's one of several at the Burgers approaching that mark. Thompson now plays the ball all the way back to King. And he'll just spread the play out to the left.
I think it just a few weeks ago celebrated his 150th NPL League appearance, which is a fair effort for any player, especially for one club.
Sibatuara operating out there on the left. He'll get it back, looking for Thompson. Thompson into Valeri. Gives it back to Thompson. Clever little back heel for Sibatuara. Sibatuara puts the ball into the middle for Chantalab, but Chantalab's header wasn't able to turn it around as the 4th official indicates that there will be 3 minutes of time added on here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. 1 minute of added time for every goal the Burgers have scored in this half. But that was well worked by Dandenong to get the ball in.
Some promising signs in the last few minutes here of them putting together some more constructive attacks. They've looked a little bit more like the side that has surged through the second half of this campaign and less like the sinking stone that was Dandy City in the first half. You and I both saw them go out of the FFA Cup over against State League 1 side Preston Lions, and it looked like they were destined for NPL 2 next season.
Yeah, well, on that occasion it looked like Preston were the NPL side and Dandy City were the State League side. But Valeri now. Get it to that to Kelly. Kelly. Back to Valeri. Valeri with a cheeky little chip into like a dangerous area, maybe wanting Chantalab to make the run, but in the end, Brendan White says thank you very much and swallows it. As we see Stephen Pace walking past us now, he's in quite a bit of pain holding his left shoulder, unfortunately, and there's a Heidelberg trainer on the phone. Hopefully that's not calling for an ambulance, Josh, because he doesn't look to be in a very good way, unfortunately, does Stephen Pace.
Shoulder injuries can be very serious. Hopefully it doesn't keep him out for too long. I'm sure he'll be wanting to play in the final series, but a dislocated shoulder at this stage of the season, you probably doubt that he'd make a return.
Well, hopefully, even if it is a dislocated shoulder, hopefully there's nothing broken or collarbone perhaps.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, as play resumes, Wilkins delivers this ball into the penalty area, but it's headed straight out by the Dandy City defence. But as has happened so often on this throughout this first half. Luke Biles is just waiting to play the ball back, but on this occasion, throw in.
Santalaba's barely had a sniff.
He's just operating really on an island, isn't he, Josh, against the Burgers back four.
That's no indictment on him, by the way. Just the service hasn't been there. He hasn't had teammates to play in support. He's been a man alone against one of the more disciplined and really well-oiled backlines that exist in NPL competition around Australia.
It's perhaps a chance for the Burgers to get something going late. Noon trying to hold the play up. However, he'll put the ball out. As George Katsakis orders his side to drop. Don't want to concede a goal before the half runs out. I think I just heard the lineswoman say there was about 5 to 10 seconds left. Even less, as it turns out. So, at the end of 45 minutes plus 3 minutes of injury time, Josh, a half that Dandenong City will absolutely want to forget. Sean Ellis putting the Burgers ahead with an absolute thunderbolt, and then 2 penalties, one by Lucas Derrick and converted by Adrian Zara, putting the hosts in an absolute hole heading into the second 45 of this one. How did you see the game?
I think Dandy City just really sat too deep in that half. They were a little too conservative. They didn't back themselves against one of the best sides in NPL Victoria. They really sat on their laurels, and Heidelberg really picked them off. Although that third penalty decision for me was just incorrect. It was a very well-timed tackle by the defender Linajad. So should really be 2-0 perhaps, but they're in a massive hole at half-time, and they're going to have to rethink things, maybe make at least one substitution at the break if they want to make a game of this.
Well, the thoughts there of Josh Parrish. I've been Joey Lynch here in the first half. Be sure to tune in for the second half on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube pages. But for now, after 45 minutes plus 3 of injury time of play here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, the score is Dandenong City 0, Heidelberg United 3. Welcome back to Frank Holohan's Soccer Complex here in the southeast, down in Endeavour Hills, for a game that, well, if you were only to look at ladder positions, you might not be so surprised at the current scoreline. Heidelberg entering today's contest in second, Dandenong City 11th. But Josh Parrish, on the form guide, one would have expected maybe a slightly tighter contest. The score currently here, Heidelberg United, the visitors 3, Dandenong City 0.
Yeah, total whitewash in the first half, which we didn't expect. 2 penalties from Adrian Zara and an absolute thunderbolt from Sean Ellis, giving Heidelberg quite the commanding advantage going into the break. And I think Dandy City will respond here by ringing the changes.
Well, thank you for joining us today on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube pages, wherever you are around the world. If you are watching on the Facebook page, be sure to leave us a comment. Josh Parrish here is on Facebook comments duty if anything interesting comes up. My name is Joey Lynch on Play-by-Play, taking you through the second half of this one. Just trying to have a look around, Josh. We did see a couple of Dandenong City players warming up during the halftime break, looking as though potentially they would be coming on, Liam McCormick and Mate Duganzic, but just looking around and looking at the fourth official,
There's been no announcement, but they are on the field, Joey.
They're on the field, so can't sneak anything by us or anything by you, Josh.
Liam McCormick has come on in central midfield. I think he's replaced Greg Lombardo, with Steve Topalovic moving to centre back and Cavalieri dropping slightly deeper into that holding role in front of the back four. Whereas Samuel Sibatuara has been replaced by the former Adelaide and Melbourne Heart player Mate Duganzic, who I'm very much looking forward to seeing in action after his mid-season return from that long-term ankle problem that he continues to suffer from.
There's a Linejad, whips the ball in the area, looking for Duganzic, but it's cleared away. Valeri will mop up and look to send Dandenong back into attack. He gets the ball out wide to Pilkington. Pilkington just sells some candy to Ellis and then just cuts back inside to Thompson. Zach Thompson, a former Leeds United youth, just flicks the ball into the area, but it's met by nobody wearing a Dandy City top, and it will be a comfortable collection for Brendan White.
It's early days yet, Joey, and it may be, in fact, too late simultaneously, because they're in a hole, but I already do like this midfield composition a lot more for Dandy City in this half. It just seems so much more balanced, so much more, attack-minded. I think they've got the players on the park to be able to actually create the chances they need to for Brendan Santalab up in that number 9 role. And I think maybe Ante Moric and Sasha Ognanovsky are regretting their initial selections, which
you did mention were very defensive in their nature.
I much prefer Steven Topalovic as a central defender to a holding midfield player. It was a conservative choice to put him there in the first place.
There's that throw-in from Wilkins. He's immediately picked out by Kelly, but Wilkins will get another chance. He'll play it forward to Lucas Derrick, who won both of Heidelberg's penalties in that first half, although the second penalty, if you were watching the first half, you would have immediately heard Josh's doubts about the veracity of the decision by the referee. But in the end, it counted, and Adrian Zara converted both. My
sympathies with Cheyenne Alinejad for a perfectly timed sliding tackle. Got the ball cleanly, and the referee, unfortunately, was just on exactly the wrong angle. I think he was the really only man at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex who didn't think it was a clean challenge. So, unfortunately, that never should have been a penalty. But
there's now a chance for Lucas Derrick to run forward once again, showing his pace, but this time the ball is cleared away by Topalovic.
And Lucas Derrick is so quick that you even have to speak up the rave knots at which he's spitting out those words, Joey, when he gets near the ball. He has been a menace, just chasing every lost cause for Heidelberg in the first half and turning them really into some golden scoring opportunities, winning both the penalty kicks.
Now Wilkins will pounce on the ball, but his pass intended for Noon goes out. Wilkins made the move over from WA to Heidelberg a few seasons ago. It's pretty much tasted nothing but success ever since he's landed with the Burgers. And earlier this season, he did trial with the Central Coast Mariners as well. So who knows, Melbourne Victory with a current dearth of senior players signed and maybe a a hole at the wing-back position. Maybe Wilkins is an NPL Victoria player that could put his hand up. This ball comes in, and that's a strong challenge there from Ruben Way. An unfair challenge there from Ruben Way on his opponent, Cheyenne Alinejad, sorry. Two number 7s clashing, and will be a free kick to Dandy City. Wilkins heads the ball straight back. Valeri cleans up. Still Ellis moving down the right flank. He's done amazingly to get the ball down there, but he's cut back on his right boot. Comes out to Harry Noon, but Harry Noon puts the ball over the bar. But once again, Ellis showing the danger signs, beating 2 men to get to the byline, Josh.
What other player in NPL looks at that situation, 2-on-1, running into a cul-de-sac on the flank and thinks, yes, I'm going to go bind both of them and deliver an excellent cutback from my striker. Sean Ellis has been magic this evening, and
I know Jerry Salados, mate.
Yeah, well,
my boy.
You know.
But you're right. He's a very special player at this level, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I don't believe he ever has had a look in at the A-League. I guess he is.
Fortunately, that visa slot.
Yeah, it's always tough for the visa players. You know, Brandon Barnes, I'm sure, feels that way as well. As an Englishman, it's tough to make that jump up from NPL, even tougher than it already normally is.
Has demonstrated in the past for the Burgers that he can mix it with A-League sides. A member of was in the squad on that famous night where the Burgers knocked out Perth Glory of the FFA Cup. Certain Kenny Achew leading the line for the Burgers that night. There's a strong challenge there from Ellis on his opposite number 9, Kelly. No mean feet knocking Kelly off the ball. He's a big lad. Ball is put into the area by Wilkins, but it's a strong collection from King. McCormick just plays the ball forward, but it's cut out. Oh, big collision there. Dumbalis did not like McCormick's challenge one bit. We have seen some argy-bargy in other games around the grounds, Josh.
Oh, have we, Joey? Please enlighten me.
Well, there was a certain incident at, I believe, the Pascavale versus Hume City game, which could you give us a progress score on that one, Josh?
I certainly could. I believe it is 1-1. In fact, Hume City have just taken the lead in that one. Goal just a few minutes ago, so 2-1 to Hume City, their second lead change.
We did see in that one earlier as Hume were waiting to whip a ball into the area. Marco Delic on Pascavale goalkeeper Nick Feely getting a bit frustrated with the attention of the Packard goalkeeper, and as I put it on my Twitter account, yeeting him into the back of the net, just hurling him into the back of the net and getting himself a yellow card in the process. No argy-bargy of that kind here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex yet.
Delic has a bit of a fiery temper. Certainly on full display there. Can't be doing that.
There's a big collision there in the middle of the park between Paul O'Brien and I think was it Valeri or Thompson?
I think it was Valeri with the high knee. Could be mistaken.
But yes, be sure to stay with us here for the rest of this game, and then maybe after this game's conclusion, head over to the video of the Pascavale Hume game and check that one out. Zara standing over this free kick. The runs come in. He'll whip it in towards, waiting at the back post was Ruben Way. Collision between Ruben Way and Pilkington. The ball will go out for what is adjudged to be a corner for Heidelberg, much to the disgust of Ante Moric here over there on the Dandenong City bench. Looks up at me as he hears his name.
It's always an interactive experience when you're on the scaffolding.
Remember a couple of months ago when I was calling as we'll briefly pause for this ball to come in from Derek. Headed clear. Derek will get another chance. Derek's still going. He's not giving up on the ball, but Alinejad will cut in and clear the ball. Noon. Alinejad clears again. So I remember calling a game a month or so ago Lang Warren versus Brunswick City. Scott Miller was not shy about giving me the constant feedback from his position on the touchline. Scott Miller, of course, former Newcastle Jets boss, now in charge of Lang Warren in the NPL 2 Eastern Conference. Perhaps falling away in that race for a promotion and relegation playoff spot, Lang Warren, but season has a bit of a ways to go there in the NPL 2. But now here in the NPL, the top flight. Heidelberg coming forward once again through Luke Biles. But his pass runs long.
Centre back who's not afraid to eat up those yards in front of him if they're presented. He's pretty confident on that left foot. Not purely a limited central defender.
Biles landing in Australia back in 2009 after backpacking through Southeast Asia. Stints with Heidelberg and of South Melbourne as well. Long throw in by the Burgers coming forward. Lucas Derrick will challenge for it once again, but this time it will be Derrick giving away the free kick, bringing down Mate Duganzic.
Haven't seen much of Mate in the contest so far. It's always difficult coming in as a sub when you're already 3-0 and in a hole, but he looked pretty enthusiastic about his introduction at half-time with his warm-ups. We saw him going through his paces, Joey.
As now he'll get onto the ball, will Duganzic. Tries to put a low ball into the area, but it's quickly cut out by the Burgers and then just booted forward, taking no chances. Headed straight back, but it will snake through everybody untouched and go all the way through to Brendan White. And he will just put the ball out to Chris Dibb, who entered the fray, replacing Stephen Pace, who suffered a shoulder injury in that first half. Topalovic will play it back. Ellis gives chase, but it is eventually cleared by King. Derrick was looking for Noon, but it's cut out by Topalovic. And then sliding challenge from Way is adjudged to have been unfair. Topalovic takes it quickly. And Linajad gets it to Duganzic on the right. Back into Valeri. Valeri through to Thompson. Duganzic. Clever feet by Duganzic. Gets it out to Kelly. This is well done from Dandenong City. Kelly cuts inside. Right-footed shot. Steered away by Brendan White.
One of the best passages that Dandy City have put together. All started with that neat little roulette turn in the back line from Stephen Topalovic, which earned a free kick that really, frankly, confused the Heidelberg players.
Thompson standing over it. Headed clear by the Burgers, however. And Zara will come away with it, bounding up the right flank. Valeri will take this ball. It's got men forward. Kelly nods it on. Shantalab gives chase. But White had to be careful with his jump that he didn't accidentally carry the ball over the line and out and give away a free kick. Now Derrick giving chase once again. Topalovic has to just, in the end, ride his challenge and put the ball out for a throw-in.
Doesn't Derrick have this just knack of running at a defender's blind side?
He's got a motor on him and he knows exactly where to go.
I don't know if there's any better player in getting onto second balls in NPL.
Shout out to Warren Joyce. Second balls. For those of you unaware, Warren Joyce did love to shout out second balls when stalking the touchline for Melbourne City. As the long throw-in comes out from Heidelberg. Nodded on by Noon, but it's well held.
I think Warren Joyce would have been a big fan of the Burgers' fundamentals. If he strayed out to watch NPL games, I'm not sure if that was something he was in the habit of doing.
No, he did on occasion, when they were at home at least, or playing around Bundoora. Of course, his former side, Melbourne City, playing a friendly against Oakley earlier in the week. Oakley actually took the lead twice in that game. Eventually it did finish 4-3 to Melbourne City, but they only got the win with a last kick of the game penalty from Mooney and the As that ball comes in, Chantalab gives chase. Flicked on, but White does well to get down there and deny Chantalab's little left-footed flick on.
I think Oakley, if I'm not mistaken, responded taking the lead in that friendly by subbing off their entire first choice lineup who remained on the field of play.
Absolute top bands.
Yeah. We've beaten you with our best team, now play against the 20s and compete for the scraps. Oakley in fine form. Second half, they're absolutely flying at the moment. Knocked off some really more fancied sides. And Heidelberg will be hoping they can repeat the trick tomorrow night against Avondale at Jack Edwards Reserve.
Duganzic twisting again, but that left-footed effort is well wide of the post. We've seen now, maybe he didn't start as quickly as he would have liked, Josh, but Duganzic in these last few minutes, a couple of neat little twists and turns, and is showing the skill level that made him such a hot prospect as a young player.
Yeah, I think he's just added a little bit of class and pedigree to this Dandy City attack, a bit of finesse that was missing. He's drifting in from that right-hand side, opening up that flank for Alunajad to make some overlapping runs. There's a lot of potential there with that combination, and maybe it's too little too late in this contest. It'll be a hell of an effort to get anything out of this game.
There's about 20 players in a 10-by-10 box there in the middle of the field. Eventually the ball is played long towards them. And it will be Dandenong City ball. It's played in quickly. Kelly gives chase, but once again, White off his line, quick as a flash. And he's there to hold the ball. Ellis underneath it, flicks it on for Derek. Topalovic defending against Derek. Derek plays it back to Noon. Noon still going against Valeri. He's one out, has Noon. Ellis eventually has his attempted cross put out for a corner by Valeri.
So good in those tight areas, Sean Ellis.
Had to be careful there, did Valeri? Didn't want to give away a third penalty.
Oh, yeah.
The veteran head of Carl Valeri not going to slide in unneeded in a situation like that, one would think, though.
Well, we saw the veteran head of Adrian Leyer misjudge things. There's a bit of argy-bargy in the 6-yard box between McCormick and Lucas Derrick. The referee will have to work out. Not quite on a Marco Delic level, Joey.
Yet. So will be Ellis to
There
put
was
the
a
ball
yellow
in.
card just shown there.
Yeah.
Might have been to Luke Pilkington, I believe.
Yes.
Something he said, someone he grabbed, I'm not sure. Play temporarily stopped here as the referee notes things down. A lot of suspense leading up to this corner.
Yes. Ellis puts the ball in. Headed clear. Duganzic trying to get underneath it, and he just flicks it on well to Kelly. Kelly gets it to Valeri. Dandenong City trying to break forward quickly in transition. Kelly, but his pass into the middle of the field is cut out. Derek. His pass intended for Noon, cut out by Valeri. Valeri has gone down under a poor challenge from Derek from behind. You could probably hear the clash of boots there. Maybe Derek perhaps lucky not to see a yellow himself, Josh.
Did seem a little calculated from Lucas Derrick there, but he was certainly on the receiving end of one in the first half from Adrian Leyer. Giving as good as he gets, Lucas Derrick.
Topalovic. Wilkins goes down in the contest with Kelly, and he wins his side a free kick. And in fact, Kelly has received a yellow card for an elbow to the face of Wilkins. Wilkins is dating Heidelberg United's media manager, so she won't be happy if Kelly has damaged Wilkins' face. Although I believe his nickname amongst the club is Shrek, so not really sure where I'm going with that. Will be a free kick here that will be taken by Brendan White.
Saying he's got a face for right back? Or James Kelly did see red a few weeks ago. Does have a bit of a combustible temper, I think it's fair to say.
Red twice so far this season. One of the few players at the in the top flight to have been sent to the sheds on multiple occasions. Comes along, Tabalovic clears. Dandenong City bench appealing for an elbow. Wilkins gives chase and heads the ball back into the field for Zara. But Zara's wayward pass is cut out by Dugandzic, who plays the ball over the top for Thompson. Wilkins giving chase, and Wilkins will see the ball over the line. Luke Pilkington cutting a frustrated figure there on the left flank for Dandy City. Ante Moric trying to calm him down as the ball comes forward. Valeri gets on the end of it, plays it forward, looking for Dugandzic, but it's played away by Dumbalis. Dugandzic gets another chance. Breaking down the right flank. Valeri giving chase. Dumbalis on his 6. Ball comes into the middle of the field, but it's just waiting there is the substitute Dib to clear the ball away. Cross coming in from Liam McCormick.
So 2 former South Melbourne players in the middle of that midfield for Dandy City now. One on better terms with the club than the other, I think it's fair to say.
No comment. As we listen, just eavesdropping in on from the scaffolding here. I won't give it away lest I burn any bridges with Dandenong City, but it does appear as though Ante Moric is looking to switch up his formation a little bit here. Perhaps in pursuit, as we also see the Burgers getting set to make a substitution on their own. And, well, if you're up 3-0, it's a hell of a substitution to make anyway, because they are out to bring on well-travelled number 9, Tom Cahill.
Top Cat, as he's known on the Heidelberg TV channel. I think that's a Greg Blake special, that nickname.
Pilkington on the ball, gets it in the middle of the field for Valeri.
His primary asset, much like his much more vaunted Australian namesake, is his aerial ability, and he's a real handful.
As that ball is played into the area, perhaps hoping that Kelly would be able to get on the end of it, but he pulls up and watches it go out for a goal kick. And Cahill will be coming on for Lucas Derrick. So having won his side 2 penalties and given in the first half, giving Lombardo, and then in the second half, giving Topalovic and Adrian Leyer absolute fits, Lucas Derrick departs, being replaced by Tom Cahill, as we'll also see Dandenong City making a change. Sean Filipovic coming on, replacing number 8, Zach Thompson. Well, it's not exactly like for like, is it, Josh, bringing on Tom Cahill for Lucas Derrick?
No, in position, perhaps. In style, absolutely not. He's already into the thick of it in the aerial challenges.
Way trying to come forward, wins his side a free kick, and for Dandenong City, Filipovic entering the game. Spent his entire career with Dandenong City Youth. Won promotion with the side last year. As here we see Ellis standing over the ball, as is Dumbalis. Will be Dumbalis. Dumbalis tees up from range, goes low, but it's poked clear by Dandenong City and then flicked forward, but Shantalab's not going to be able to chase down that one. Ellis kills the ball dead and then plays it out onto the right flank for Wilkins. Gets the ball to Noon, but Noon can't collect. Dandenong City coming forward now. No, they're not. Ruben Way. Gets inside the area and he goes down, but place on Noon. Just coming in, the challenge coming in from Adrian Lay to put the ball over the bar for a Heidelberg corner.
Moment victory combination of Leia and Valeri forcing that one over the crossbar. But I just love the positional play. I've waxed lyrical about him tonight, but Sean Ellis, just the way he really sold the defence a sausage. His movement off the ball when it seemed to be really dead in the arms of Brendan White. As I think the corner will be reset on the opposite flank, I believe. And yeah, just his movement off the ball was just a joy to watch. He was standing in an offside position, just ducked onside at the right moment. Then as the ball was released by Brendan White, he feigned to run beyond the defence. The Dandy City defence dropped in response, and then he came short and received the ball totally unopposed. It's just the little things that he does right to give himself the time and space he needs to operate.
Zara to deliver this ball in. A high looping corner. But it's headed out by Adrian Leia, and it will be a corner on that attacking right flank for the Burgers. Ellis will get a chance to use that left boot to swing a ball in.
Almost got a chance to use that left boot to volley Goldwoods, just lurking in the back post area off that prior corner.
Zara makes a quick run through, is ignored, and that's a clever header at the near post from Harry Noon. Was picked out by Ellis, but was just unable to bend the ball back. And in fact, it looks as though it's gone off a Dandenong City player in the end for another corner.
I think Stefan King just got a little touch on that. Not sure if it was going over the crossbar or maybe even just wide, but
that one is played short. Ellis to Zara. Zara puts the ball in towards the back post, but on that occasion, Cahill, well, you talked about his ability to use that big scon of his earlier, Josh, was unable on that occasion to direct the ball on target.
That prior header from Harry Noon, very clever. The way he flicked that goal is, I mean, so often in that position, it's a difficult one. You see most players just hammer that thing into the advertising hoardings at the front post, but he was able to keep things alive.
Is that attempted header forward by Dumbalis will go out for a Dandy City throw. Yes, back-to-back headed opportunities to Noon and Cahill. Be feeling pretty safe in saying the hairiest front two combination in NPL Victoria. Oh, that's a very dangerous challenge there on Alinejad from, I think it was Zara, who goes into the book for it, a very high boot. And it might have clipped Alinejad on the way through. Still holding his face is Cheyenne Alinejad, the futsalroo. Now we'll hold it up, and you'll see all that tall timber for Dandy City moving forward. Leia moving forward. Topalovic moving forward. And it looks as though they did attempt to play it short there to Dandenong City, getting the ball to McCormick, but it will come back, and Valeri, it appears, will have to play this ball long and looping into the penalty area.
Well, Joe, you've got to give the ref time to finish his paperwork before you can take a set piece.
As Valeri swings the ball in. Cahill in the end got a touch on it, and it will be a throw-in deep on the attacking left flank for the Burgers as the ball snakes away and down the hill here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex.
The crowd has thinned out considerably since the opening whistle.
It's Pilkington with the ball in his hands.
It's a pretty good turnout initially, at least, on a cold night here in Dandenong.
Kelly gets the ball in. Shot from Filipovic was blocked, and then the Burgers through Wilkins will clear. To Pavlovic. The gun just leaves it, but the Burgers will now come away with it. Noon, riding challenges, still going as Noon, and that's a strong collision between two big men, Noon and Topalovic. Noon is still down, holding his head, and Valeri over quick as a flash.
Valeri showing immediate concern for his fellow professional. Worried about a head injury for Harry Noon.
Quintessentially professional is Valeri. Noon, I think hearing Valeri immediately coming over saying that Noon was unconscious. Did I think I hear him say?
That's what he said. I mean, I don't think Carl Valeri has a medical degree, but certainly...
Paging Vince Vigari.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, mate. Well, Noon is still definitely wide awake.
Maybe had his bell rung there. And he's coughing up a little bit, I think.
Now, is he coughing up blood? Valeri's saying he's coughing up blood.
He
He is coughing up blood. That's not a good sign at all.
Don't need to page Vince Rigari for that.
Is he now? Is that a blow to the mouth? Perhaps one would. Well, one
You'd
hopes
hope.
it's a blow to the
You'd
mouth.
hope so.
George Katsakis saying that Harry Noon has cut his tongue.
Okay, well,
Thankfully, it's just a abrasion in the mouth for
I think maybe
the
just
Heidelberg
bit
Colt
down
hero.
on it as
Yeah.
he hit the turf.
He must have taken a fair chunk out of it because he's still coughing, but now play resumes. Wilkins throwing the ball forward for Cahill. I imagine Noon, well, up 3-0. You would imagine maybe that discretion is the better part of valour. They might take him off, but play goes on. And Lineage out on the ball for Dandy City.
Already used 2 subs, I believe, the Burgers. Still should have 1 remaining, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a bit of a costly evening for Heidelberg, with Stephen Pace going down the first half with a suspected dislocated shoulder.
See Chantalab trying to work his way under the ball. Flick it on, but Wilkins is there and Noon will re-enter the fray. But he's still coughing. It's Luke Pilkington informing him to not cough in his direction.
He's a tough bugger, Harry Noon.
Of course, perhaps infamously suffered that incredibly serious leg injury last year in the derby against South Melbourne, colliding with the corner flag and deep gash taken out of his leg, and now he's into the book for booting the ball away. Just when we're trying to tell a nice story about his resilience and ability to bounce back from an injury, he goes into the book.
I don't think it was a time-wasting tactic so much as a speculative shot, whether it was going to count or otherwise. Just nestle it on the roof of the net. Bit harsh.
Yeah. Stephen King boots the ball long. Chantalab giving chase, however, immediately met by the head of Christopher Dibb. Our ball came delivered into the area by Pilkington, but well held by Brendan White. He'll just boot this ball long, slices towards the touchline, but will stay in. Duganzic has won a free kick.
And Joey, I have to bring you some quite sensational news from the Kingston City Bentley Greens game. There has been late drama for the relegation strugglers. They were 2-0 down, they were out. Goals in the 88th and 94th minutes for Kingston, and they've drawn that game full-time 2-2 over at Kingston Heath.
Wow.
What a comeback.
Some video game stuff. Wonder if Mo Zwed had any hand in that, the E-League player, or the like. But that's an absolutely massive result for Kingston in their pursuit to stay alive. And also, as this ball comes in for Chantalab, but Dip meets the ball and puts it out. But an absolutely big result also for Bentley. Going down 3-0 against Heidelberg last week and surrendering second place on the ladder will now fall, by all appearances, will fall even further behind at least the Burgers and possibly Avondale, with Avondale yet to play.
Quite correct, Joey. We're into stoppage time over at CB Smith Reserve. Pascoe Vale down 2-1 against the visitors Hume City. Goal from Steve Hewitt in the 63rd minute. Looking like it will prove decisive for Hume City. Big welcome to you if you are hopping on over from either of those games.
Welcome. As that long free kick in is played into the area, but collected strongly by Stefan King, who, if you are just joining us, Stefan King, a late addition to the Dandenong City starting 11. A very, very late change. It was only announced as the sides were walking out. Demir Salchin slated to start, but not doing so. As that's well done from Pilkington, dancing over the sliding challenge from Wilkins. Rides the challenge from Dibb and eventually gets the ball in. It's spilled back out and it's in the back of the net for Dandenong City. It's the substitute, Sean Filipovic. The ball spilled out to him after the cross bounced off the top of the goals. Relatively simple tap in for the end, but they all count. And now, Josh, maybe the faintest sniff for Dandenong City, perhaps.
Well, you can certainly hear it from the car park.
Beep,
Horns
beep.
going off. Dandy City fans got quite a lot of supporters in attendance. What a bizarre goal that was. Luke Pilkington's attempted cross coming off the apex of the goal and rebounding as conveniently as would be possible for Sean Filipovic. I don't think he'll score an easier goal in his life. Kept his head though.
Noon gives chase for that ball. We'll keep it in. Wilkins will kill it down. We'll clash with Duganzic. Duganzic still giving chase and forces Wilkins to go all the way back to White. Cahill trying to hold the play up. Gets back to Zara. Zara versus Valeri. Gets a ball out to Noon before he goes flying. Noon whips the ball into the area, but it's over the top of Ruben Way.
Pilkington and the referee's defence there. I think it was mostly the momentum from the attacking player, Adrian Zara, that sent him toppling rather than any challenge from the defender, so to speak.
Now the Burgers will come away with it once again. Gets it forward to Cahill. Cahill will splay it out to the right to Ellis. Ellis cuts back onto his left boot and delivers a ball in to Ruben Way. He gets it to Cahill. Cahill turns and shoots, but it's blocked. Now Dandy City have a chance to come forward, but the ball intended for Filipovic is cut out by Dibb. And we will see the Burgers making their final substitution. Jack Petrie entering the fray. Was a substitute last week as well. Will be entering for Harry Noon. So, as we suggested, Josh, discretion, the better part of valor for the Burgers, and Harry Noon departs for Jack Petrie.
I think they'll just go to one up front now, the Burgers, after playing with two for the rest of the game. Jack Petrie will just come in and solidify the centre of that midfield. I think the...
To be honest, they're looking at the play myself, Josh. I thought there were handballs off both players, so you could really take your pick.
I guess the first one you got to punish, and the referee did so with some help from the assistant. I think that was the correct call. Although calls for a second yellow card from the Heidelberg bench, probably
Slightly
a little harsh.
So Wilkins plays that ball in, but it's headed clear by it was Topalovic, sorry, not Leia. Now Dandy City can break in transition. Valeri giving chase, those old legs pumping. Dumbalis forced to just put it out for a throw-in. But now, as we are in the final 10 minutes of this game, Josh, probably, one would say, perhaps in the bank, the 3 points for Heidelberg, but big end of the season coming up for both sides.
Absolutely, some really important contests. Dandy City, their final slate's fading. They'll be over playing Bentley Greens next week, and then they'll be at Kingston City and Port Melbourne. So just the one home game remaining for them after tonight. Whereas Heidelberg will visit Port Melbourne Sharks next week. Then they've got a catch-up round at home to Oakley. That game, remember, supposed to be the last ever contest at Olympic Village, was washed out on the day. Wild weather in Melbourne that day.
I feel as though I should point out that they were advertising it as the last game at the Village, but there was actually a WNPL game on at the Village the day after.
Such a killjoy, Joey.
Yeah.
Last ever men's senior game at Olympic Village in its current form.
There we go.
For the renovations, they will be playing against Oakley. I'm not quite sure what the venue situation is for that one. Then they visit Avondale in a really intriguing game, second last round of the season.
Could potentially decide the Premier's plate for Avondale.
Exactly, and then they are away at South Melbourne. So
two huge games to end the
two
season.
huge games to end the season for Heidelberg. But remember, they have a game in hand over most of their opponents.
So it could be a very big final 2 weeks of the season for the Burgers. Potential Premier's plate clash with Avondale in the second last week of the season, and perhaps South Melbourne could be playing for a spot in the finals in that final round as that ball is played forward for Duganzic, but Wilkins is Johnny on the spot to put the ball out.
And I can tell you there's been a very, very, very late equaliser over at Pascoe Vale for the struggling Northern Suburbs base side. The 95th minute.
Good Lord, late
minutes of
drama.
stoppage time, late drama around the grounds in NPL Victoria. That one finishes 2-2. And so has Bentley Greens and Kingston after a spirited comeback. So the sides at the bottom showing some signs of life.
Perhaps putting the onus on the Dandenong Thunder later this week. The only Sunday NPL fixture, Thunder against South Melbourne from Lakeside Stadium. That, of course, will be on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube pages as the Burgers come forward once again. Ruben Way playing a ball forward to Cahill. Cahill had Ellis on his right, ignored him, but the ball eventually does come out to the Ginger Scotsman. Sounds like a biscuit, a Ginger Scotsman. Dandenong City will, however, put the ball out. And Wilkins will amble up from his position at right back to take it. One comes in from Petrie, comes straight back out to Wilkins. Wilkins with a outside of the boot effort to cross it in. It was well taken by the Heidelberg right back, but no doing. Was collected, and Dandenong City will bring the ball out. Final stages of the match here. If you have just joined us on the streams from one of the other games, Heidelberg taking a 3-0 lead into the half-time break after an absolute thunderbolt from Ellis and 2 penalties. One by Lucas Derrick and converted by Adrian Zara as the goalkeeper has fallen over, and it's just across the face of goal from Chantalab. You can see his frustration, absolutely willying the sponsors' boards behind the goals. In the end, it was an incredibly difficult angle for the Dandenong City attacker, but he's still frustrated, Josh.
And I think Brendan White will be the most relieved man at Frank Holohan. That was an ungainly slip in a muddy penalty area, and he wouldn't want that on his, I guess, low-light reel. That was certainly a blooper. And Santalab, I mean, he's frustrated. He holds himself to high standards. It was almost a 0-degree angle. He was trying to finish that one on, so it would have been spectacular if he could have rolled that into the empty net.
Santalab looking to score Dandenong City second after they did drag one back through second half substitute Sean Filipovic. After the ball sat ever so sweetly for him after Pilkington's attempted cross bounced off the apex of the goal and back into play. Chantalab received a shove in the back, but he's still able to find a teammate. And then played forward by Alinejad, but there are multiple Burger shirts there to cut out the danger. Dandenong City appealing for a free kick against Ellis for a handball, and they are awarded.
So there's just something a little bit frustrating about Dandy City's performance tonight, and not just because they're obviously losing 3-1, but as I'll pause for play.
Ball comes in. Wilkins heads the ball clear. He's been in the wars, has Wilkins, as he collects a healthy belt into his back from Luke Pilkington. Much to the anger of the Burgers bench. George Katakis still remonstrating with the fourth official.
I was going to say, just the little lofted balls into the forward line seems to be playing straight into Heidelberg's game. You know, they're going to eat those aerial balls up all day. When Dandy City have trusted their footballing skills and played the ball through the lines, tried to find feet, they've looked so much more impressive. And it's only been really fits and starts this evening.
Now Wilkins, seemingly recovered from the blow to his back, will take this throw in on the right flank. Alenajad will want that one back.
A shank from the futsal row.
Big pack forms. Eventually it comes out. Valeri to Duganzic. Duganzic plays the ball forward for Shantalab. And that's a heavy challenge on Shantalab, but he's able to keep his feet and keep the play moving. Ball was intended for Kelly on the right flank, was cut out. Now Leia will have a chance to bring them forward through Alenajad on the right flank. Alenajad's attempted cross is cut out by Dumbalis. Dumbalis trying to keep it in. Won't do so, however, and it will be a late corner for Dandenong City here in the final minute of regulation. Ball comes into the middle of the area. Pilkington Rose. Ball is played back in and it's put in the back of the net. Dandenong City have their second.
And it's a second for Sean Filipovic as well. What an impact he's made off the bench.
The substitute, he's just in all the right places at all the right times. The ball pinballing around and again, he's there. And, well, Josh, we've had some absolutely barnstorming finishes already tonight in NPL Victoria and a chance for another one here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex. The Burgers, they would have come into this second half thinking they were home and hosed. And now, all of a sudden, they're going to have to work for it. Zara giving chase against Alenajad. Alenajad shrugs him off. Gets it forward to Valeri.
4 minutes is plenty of time. And we're going to see a barnstorming finish here, Joey.
Absolutely, as the ball comes out to Pilkington on the left. Pilkington swings the ball in. Alenajad is waiting. Can't get onto it. Wade tries to clear it, but it's going to come straight back out to Pilkington. Pilkington's touch lets him down. However, it will be a Dandenong City ball. Ante Moric has sprinted across out from his technical area to play ball boy. And Topalovic with a long throw in. Wilkins tries to put the ball out for a throw in, but he's inadvertently shanked it, and it will be a corner. Dib with a late boot of the ball clear. Will avoid sanction for a yellow card, but it is the Dandenong City corner. Absolutely barnstorming finish here. Oh, God, we've got the goalkeeper coming up as well.
Yes, the big frame. And
oh, Stephen King.
Get in there, son.
Do it, mate. Get that big pill on the ball. Corner is swung in. Cut out by the Burgers, and now there's an empty goal. Get back, King. Ruben Wade boots the ball forward, received a push in the back. Alenajad gives chase, as does Adrian Zara. And it will be a free kick all the way back. The referee did initially play advantage, but it was a very healthy shove in the back to prevent any sort of long shot.
Oh, it's all happening here at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, Joey. Both sides want it so badly. Dandy City with quite the comeback in this second half. We've only got about a minute left to play.
Yeah. Ball is booted long for the Burgers. Ball with Ellis. It's cleared, and here we go, frantically getting forward again. You can hear the excitement rise as Duganzic advances forward. Still with the ball is Mate Duganzic. He is robbed of it by O'Brien. The ball is still in, apparently. Now, it's all happening. Alenajad puts the ball forward, men giving chase. Petrie just boots it clear. Alenajad will work to get the ball once again and put it forward. There's nobody waiting, however. Biles on the ball. He'll boot it forward. Topalovic, will he keep it in? No. Instead, he'll take the throw in.
Visiting Alexandros fans want the whistle, Joey.
He's forced to go back to King, and King will play it long. Whistles from everywhere standing out. George Katsakis joining in with the whistles. Booted clear. Valeri flicks it on, but to nobody in particular. Wilkins is playing centre back. Now Zara tries to get it across, but Tavalovic cuts it out. You get it forward, Dandy. Ball comes forward once again. Kelly can't get it going forward. They want a free kick. Instead, it'll be a throw-in. Chandelab flicks it onwards. Dumbalis intercepts. He's able to get it to Way. Valeri with a challenge on Way, but it will be a Burgers throw-in.
It's all up to the man in the middle now, Johnny Barrero. How long is he going to permit this to go on for? It's absolute chaos here. Dandy City really throwing caution to the wind.
Go on, Stephen King. Get up and help defend the throw-in. The Burgers absolutely just taking every second they can. Cahill flicks it on, and now look at this. Zara's offside. The play will come back. Burgers fans thought the whistle for the offside was the full-time whistle, and one would think that this is it. This is the final chance Dandy City will get. Stephen King is sending Alinejad up. He'll boot the ball long. It's going to go straight through to White, however, and now White will just milk this for all it's worth. And no, he won't. He won't have to. Mercifully for Heidelberg, the final whistle blows. Dandenong City came over the top in the end, finishing with a wet sail after 2 goals to the substitute, Sean Filipovic. God, take a breath, Josh, but in the end, the Burgers escape with the win after 3 first-half goals. Sean Ellis' thunderbolt and 2 penalties converted by Adrian Zara, but wow, Josh.
What a finish, Joey. Just exhilarating stuff to end the game. It's been a night of comebacks in NPL Victoria. Dandy City almost did the impossible. 3-0 down, it looked like a routine win for the Burgers, but they pushed them all the way. The substitutes made a huge impact, and Dandy City come ever so close to just snatching something. But Heidelberg, you know, they'll feel they've still earned these 3 points. Maybe it was a little more difficult than they would have liked.
An absolutely fantastic finish in the end. I need a cup of tea to calm down. The final score here at Frank Holohan Reserve, as Josh said, 3-2. Take you through the goals one more time. Ellis with the first long-range effort. 2 penalties won by Lucas Derrick, converted by Adrian Zara. 2 goals in the second half to Dandy City substitute Sean Filipovic. Not enough, but wow, what an occasion. The Burgers keep pace with Avondale FC atop the NPL Victoria table. Big game for Avondale coming up against Oakley tomorrow.
Well, we're getting the comments flooding through on the Facebook Live. Tito says, and this is why I enjoy NPL Victoria so much. And I think that sums it up nicely. What a finish to the game. Such excitement. This is real football, Joey.
Absolute barnstorming finish to this one. Thank you for joining us tonight on the NPL Victoria Facebook and YouTube pages. Just a reminder, once again, you can catch every NPL Victoria game, every NPL Victoria Under-20 game, every NPLW Victoria game, 2 select NPL 2 games every week, the upcoming final of the Doherty Cup, the upcoming final of the Nike FC Cup on the Facebook and YouTube pages. I've been Joey Lynch, joined alongside on this one by Josh Parrish at Frank Holohan Reserve. The final score once again, Heidelberg United 3, Dandenong City 2.